This is George Dionne for KNAC.com, and I'm here with Vicky Psarakis and Robbie Fonts of the band Sicksense.
Awesome.
If I knew absolutely nothing about Sicksense, how would you describe the band's music to me?
You want to take this one, Vicky?
No.
It's a fun, groovy, bouncy, but still heavy at the same time. So we got something for everybody, especially if you're a fan of heavy music.
A lot of people are calling it nu metal, which was kind of big in the early 2000s. And I'd say that's still out there. I think they just call it something else. Do you think that's a good categorization for you guys, nu metal?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think new metal is just such a broad term. To be honest, I think it's just the rapping. Anyone hears rapping and automatically they're like, oh, it's new metal. And that's how we've ended up with all these different sounding bands that we all call new metal.
Like Korn, Slipknot, Linkin Park, they all sound super different from each other, but they're still like under that new metal umbrella. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you guys released your debut EP on April 22nd. It's called Kings Today on Sound Escape Music. Let's talk a little bit about the songs. First of all, I wanted to touch upon the music video for Kings Today, which was kind of cool food fight video that everybody seems to be enjoying. So if you want to talk a little bit about the development of that.
Sure, yeah. Actually, we worked with videographer Chris Kells on that music video, and for years he was telling me he wanted to film a music video with a food fight. And not a lot of bands are willing to do that, or understand why that's a thing.
pretty messy, and it's a lot of fun too. So I don't know, some metal bands are too serious for that kind of video.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, it's like you only have one shot to get it right because once everyone's covered with food, there's no rewinding. So, yeah, he was telling me that for years, and then we had this EP, we had the songs, we knew which songs we wanted to make singles, and I was listening to Kings Today, and the song is, the lyrics are predominantly about arguing and about how it is unnecessary sometimes that like relationships are being ruined over, stupid silly arguments. So listening to the song and thinking of the food fight, I approached him and I said, "Hey, I think I have the perfect song for your food fight idea." And then it just kind of went from there.
This bear that's sitting at the table that looks a little familiar, Five Nights at Freddy's looking guy. He's kind of taken off as a character with your band now. I believe he's called Dell. How did that kind of become a thing?
Yeah, Deli the bear. Yeah.
Delhi.
Yeah, he just like you said, he got a lot of traction from our Kings Today music video. A lot of the fans were like, What is he, like your mascot or something?" And we that wasn't the goal. He was just supposed to be like a one and done video type of character. But after the popularity of the music video and his presence, we decided to. We're like, hey, let's start incorporating him into merch items, and he's kind of become our version of Eddie in a sense. He's like so Deli the bear is our Sixth Sense mascot now.
Well, let's talk about the other songs on the EP. You said that Kings Today was about arguing. Let's talk about Forgotten Days.
Yeah.
That's more of a personal song on my end of things. It was like inspired by some dark periods in my life. Not necessarily the same one. Like I had one earlier in life and one a bit later, but you know, when you're going through the motions of things, you kind of and you're creating art, you kind of get inspired by numerous things. So it was just like a buildup of these past experiences I went through where like one of them is my grandfather passed away and that put me in a really dark place when I was younger. So it's just about dealing with it and like dealing with your emotions and getting through it and then speaking out about it and then reaching out to somebody and hopefully when you do reach out you do have somebody there that's with you. That's why it's like it has a very conversational tone, that song, where it's like two people in a relationship together. That's the premise, and one person in the relationship is expressing themselves like, "Hey, you're putting yourself in a really bad spot, and you got to like figure out how to get out of it." And then it's the other person admitting their faults to the person they're in a relationship with, and then they're working it out through the song as it progresses. And that's what it's about.
Excellent. How about the song Make Believe?
Oh, again,
Yeah.
that's another like song about society, similar to Kinks Today, but I'd say it focuses a bit more on the social media aspect of things, like how so many people are getting caught up in social media, and again, they're dividing their opinions over things that don't matter, and it's like it comes from a
It's
lot of places where like an outside source will give you an idea,
yeah.
plant it in your head, and then you were friends with somebody, and then because you listen to somebody else, you start you know, getting pulling yourselves apart. Yeah.
I will say like the difference with Kings Today is mostly Kings Today is about the heat and the disagreements that happen between people as people, whereas Make Believe is a little bit more about outside influence, like whether it be corporations or government or whatever, that it's like they, you know, they take you where they want to sell their product, they want to make you part of the machine, and like they send you towards that direction and down that path. And, the chorus is very, um, it says, it has this line that says, "Did anyone tell you rules are make believe? You can be, what do you say there?
You are
You are
anything
anything you
you
want
want
to
to be.
be,"
Yeah.
which is kind of like it's the positive message that says like break out of it. Who cares about society norms? Who cares about what people are telling you to do? Find a job, work 9 to 5. The regular spiel. It's like just do what you want to do, be what you want to be.
Yeah, it just comes from like this idea that like, we're human beings and we should be free. So to me, it's like a lot of these like rules and laws and stuff that they impose on us is it's just like social constructs that it's like there's no actual wall in front of you. It's like they're just words that are preventing you from doing stuff. So it's not to go out and cause mayhem or anything like that, but it's just like this idea like, hey, you're not as held down as they make you think you are. That's it.
And social media is sort of a double-edged sword for musicians because it's the way that you reach your audience now. Back in the day, artists were untouchable and fans
Yeah.
couldn't communicate with them, and now it's almost a must.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't hate social media. I have a lot of artist friends, musicians that just hate it. Um, I do hate the bad things that come with it, but every now and then I'll scroll through my inbox and I'll find like this message from a huge fan from like the other side of the world, just like sharing their life story with me and how my music like motivated them or got them out of a tough spot. And I'm like, hey, I would never have been able to see this 20 years ago. They'd write a letter to my management that who knows if I would ever get. So there is that, those little diamonds that you find here and there. But on the other side, you got to deal with a lot of crap to get there.
Yeah, but it's like at the same time, it's like I'm always saying like, how cool would it have been if you could have like contacted Jim Morrison from The Doors, like if he had Instagram at the time, it's such a cool like experience being able to reach out to your favorite artists in that way, and a lot of them are very accessible and they do respond, and there's a lot of negative like Vicky's saying, but I think the positives are super great, and when you do have like a positive fan interactions, that's an incredible experience, and it's great for both the artist and the fan. So.
Absolutely. So let's talk about Soul Snatcher.
Oh, that's another one. That's another dark one. It's like another personal one for me. Just expressing myself, but like more, I'd say if Forgotten Days was a little more positive, I'd say Soul Snatcher is a little bit more on the darker negative side of things. And I sometimes when I'm writing personal songs like that, I kind of like to have this like angel devil perspective going on, like your conscience like talking to you. So it's kind of like a song about that, where it's like I'm doing the verses and I'm just spitting out like the thoughts that are going on in my mind when I'm in a dark spot. And I do love the vocal backing vocals that Vicky had done on that song. It kind of has like this Nightmare Before Christmas type of vibe. If you're really paying attention, as I'm rapping, you'll like hear some of her stuff. She has like this Harley Quinn type of like voice going on in the background that's like a little creepy, like pushing on what the protagonist of the song is saying. So it's fun.
It's fun. After all that, it's fun.
That's fun for me. I love it. I'm a big fan of horror movies and stuff like that too. So it's all in how you take it and just enjoy yourself with it. Yeah. It's entertainment.
Absolutely. The final song on the EP is Heart of Stone. So if you want to get into that song.
Yeah. Well, you wrote most of the lyrics on this EP. That's
On
why I'm
this
I'm a little silent.
it's all right.
Yeah. Heart of Stone. It's a love letter to our fans, I guess.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it.
yeah, that's what that song's about. It's really a big love letter to our fans. Just like a big thank you over the years. You know, Vicky and I and everybody else in the band have been doing music and other projects for years before we formed Sicksense and started doing this. So it's just a big thank you to the fans for continuing to support us through our careers and doing what we're doing now in Sicksense. And then I love the vocal interplay section towards the end of the song where Vicky and I are trading vocal parts together. It's kind of a little call out and friendly competition shout out to other bands too, to be like, hey, we're here, this is what we're about, and we're here to step it up and do our thing, and calling you out, hey, push some boundaries too out there.
Is this EP going to lead to a full studio album, or are you just going to take the single EP route going forward?
Well, we do have another EP scheduled for sometime next year. Basically, what happened was this was a brand new project. We recorded 10 songs right before the pandemic hit. And as soon as the pandemic happened, we're separated. Like we live in Chicago, the rest of our band lives in Canada, around Montreal. And restrictions were really heavy back like in 2020, even half of 2021. We couldn't cross the border because music was not essential. That's a whole other conversation. But the point is, we got delayed and we were like, okay, what do we do? This is a brand new project, 10 songs. If we release it without music videos, that's just, or without a plan, that's not smart. What do we do? So we decided to split it into two EPs instead, 5 tracks each, and just kind of prolong, the both release cycles. Like, here's a video, 2, 3 months later, here's another video, and just make sure that every song is heard. So that's our plan for now. What we're gonna do after, I don't know. Like we're already writing new music for after that.
The
Um,
follow up.
the follow up. But yeah, like we don't know, is that gonna be EP format as well? Is that gonna be a full length? It's a little too soon to tell.
Is Soundscape your own record label?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
not
pretty much. Yeah.
it's not actually legally a record label, but it is our company.
Well, it
So
kind of is. We just don't market it that way. We're
yeah,
more of like a talent agency that Vicky and I run together. It was like created as a means for us to
merch
have
store too.
one online merch store just for all our numerous projects. Instead of having here's the Agonist merch store, here's a Sicksense merch store, here's a Vicky merch store. It's like, oh, it's all in one. And each artist has their own merch store through our website, and then we have a general merch store that allows fans to just buy everything from all their favorite artists from that are a part of Sound Escape together.
Okay. Are you both in the Agonist, or is it just Vicky?
Just me.
Just
Oh,
Vicky.
okay. You recently got off a tour with them. What was that like? The first tour post pandemic lockdowns for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, Robbie did join us on that tour. He was our driver and merch guy for the tour. But yeah, that was the first full tour that we've done since end of 2019. And first US tour, actually, North American tour since 2017, because we had something in 2020 that got canceled. So it was weird, not weird. It was fun. It was amazing. There was like, I think, more gratitude from everyone, both the bands and the fans. We're just grateful to be at shows again, and I felt like this tour had obstacles as with any tour, but they were approached with a more positive mindset. It wasn't like, no one was like, "Oh man, I can't wait to go home," like none of that. Whereas maybe in the past tours, people were like, "I've had enough, I'm going home." Now it's like, no, it's been a long time. We're on the road. We're gonna have fun. That's it.
Are you planning any shows for Sicksense?
We're thinking about like opening that conversation around the time that the second EP will be released, so that we at least have, 10 songs out to pick and choose from if we have to play a show.
Yeah, once our next EP is ready to be presented to people in the industry, we're going to send that out to booking agents and see what they have to say about our previous, our current EP, Kings Today, and our follow-up EP that's going to be coming out.
The Agonist is your other band, as we mentioned before, and that's a different sounding band. It's definitely hardcore and intense, like Sicksense, but it doesn't have that rapping nuance, I guess we'll call it. But how did you get involved in that band, Vicky?
In The Agonist?
Yes.
I was found on YouTube to replace their former vocalist back in 2014. Um, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So I've been in that band for 8 years now. But yeah, like musically, it is completely different from Sicksense for sure. It's not. It's for people that already love metal and have loved metal for a long time to be able to listen to something a little more extreme. Whereas I think Sicksense is a little more accessible to a mainstream audience.
Is the Agonist going to be releasing new music? You had an EP that came out last year.
Yeah, there's no talks for anything yet, because we're focused on touring right now. Like we have another European tour scheduled for October, November. So there's no conversation for recording or writing right now. Also because like we just released that EP last year, but then our previous full length that we released was right before the pandemic hit. So we're really feeling like these two releases haven't gotten, the live attention and love that they deserve yet. It's not like, you release an album, you tour for 2 years and then you put out another one. We didn't get that for either of those releases yet. So we're not in a huge rush, but maybe next year at some point we can talk about that.
Rob, I saw that you were the singer for Stuck Mojo for their last release in 2016. Is that band pretty dormant at this point?
Yeah, at this point, definitely they're dormant because Fozzy had such tremendous success with their Judas album that came out in 2017, and ever since then, it was like, well, happy for you guys, ride it. When you get an opportunity like that and you're blowing up, you just got to take it. So
Yeah.
it's all love.
Are you working with any other bands yourself?
Yes, behind the scenes. I also do like a lot of management for Soundescape agencies, so I do like a lot of consulting, and I might go over people's lyrics behind the scenes for other artists as well. In terms of an actual band, um, things are pretty much focused on Sicksense for now, 100%. And but I do have something. It's just a matter of other people and their other projects finding the time for it. But time will come for other stuff.
Speaking of behind the scenes, you two are married in real life, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
First of all, how did you two meet?
That was thanks to our bands. Vicky was playing with the Agonist at Heavy Montreal Festival back in 2015, and I met her that weekend, not on the day she was performing, but the following day when she had the day off. It was a Sunday that we met, and I was there that weekend because at that point I had already joined Stuck Mojo, and Rich had invited me and my bandmates at the time to Heavy Montreal to hang out with them and see the festival and enjoy it. So we met because of the Agonist and Fozzy backstage.
Yeah. I knew some of his bandmates from they were like friends with some of my bandmates, so we were just all invited and sitting at the same table, and yeah, that's where I met Robbie for the first time.
Yeah.
It can't all be puppy dogs and rainbows working as husband and wife in
No.
music and then going home and then back in music and stuff like that.
No, of course not. As with
Yeah.
every relationship, whether it's a marriage or a friendship or being in a band, sometimes I say it's like you're married to another 4 or 5 people. It's you really get to see, especially on tour, you get to see what a person is fully like, not just like the front that they put when it's business time. It's like, no, who are you really like as a person? And yeah, there are things, sometimes you didn't sleep well and you wake up and you go to the bathroom and it's like a mess and there's water everywhere and like you get pissed off. There's little things like that that might set you off living with someone or being on
Hey,
tour.
she's talking about Tor. She's not talking about me in general here.
That was just an example, but yes. Yes. of course, it's life isn't ever that, you know, and going back to what we said with social media, for example, I think that is one of the negatives, that people always portray the best moments of their
The
lives.
highlight reel.
The highlight, yeah, like the like nothing ever goes wrong, and it creates these unrealistic expectations that like certain relationships are perfect and certain people are perfect, but it's like no, behind the scenes everyone argues, everyone fights. It's just how do you deal with it and how do you move forward?
Absolutely. Those are all the questions I have for you today. The new album is Kings Today. It's an EP release. It's been out since April, streaming now. You can buy hard copies through your websites. It's an intense EP for sure. I enjoyed it. I liked kind of that old school sound.
Thank you,
Thank you.
George.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks
really
for having us.
appreciate it.
And thanks for hanging with us, George. Thank you.
Hey, I wish you the best of luck, and thanks for talking to knac.com.
Yeah.
Thank
It was
you.
a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, take care.